Why give? Our inspirational speaker answers this question from a multitude of perspectives. As leaders, giving of oneself, talent, time, and energy are fundamental if one is to become the quintessential leader. Philanthropy is at the heart of what she does, and the many accomplishments that have made her one of the most admired professionals in this challenging field. In her quest to spread the gospel of philanthropy all over the world, she has met leaders who have made giving a capstone in their careers. Today, she joins the leaders of GAMA Philippines to see how this gift of giving can be more understood. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President and Chief Executive Officer of the BERRIE Foundation and the author of the book Passion for Giving, Miss ANGELICA BERRIE.
I'm really honored to be here today to be addressing very successful leaders who bring a lot of passion to what you do. Passion drives performance, it drives your excellence, it drives your leadership, and it's a very distinguishing feature, as you heard from our other speakers today. And how you use that gift of passion to make the world a better place is a moral responsibility that really comes with your success. And it's something that you need to know how to use, be able to maximize and leverage in the world. So how you recognize this gift and honor it and share it, use it to open yourself to the world, that's the message I wanted to share with you today. In my work as president of the BERRIE Foundation, I have had the privilege of meeting ordinary people whose passion aligned to a sense of purpose, created really extraordinary lives. And one of my heroes is a guy called Bill Strickland, who believed in making the impossible possible. Bill's passion transformed his life from an at-risk black youth of Pittsburgh into the founder of the Manchester Bidwell School. It's a vocational school with the highest employment success rate in a neighborhood where it's the highest crime rate and a very tough district in Pittsburgh. And Bill's vision of a neighborhood with beauty and dignity and hope demonstrates the power of his passion. And his message is so appropriate for all of us today. He said, "I never saw a meaningful life that was not based on passion. And I never saw a life full of passion that wasn't in some important way extraordinary." And that's really what I want to talk to you about, is that everybody who has passion, how to translate it to go beyond the gold, as Riza said. And we all have the power to create something extraordinary with our life and to use the gift of who you are, your passion, your creativity, your intelligence to make a difference in this world. And it's hard to believe the idea of passion and what sort of value it means as a human being and how you can fully maximize it. But in the ancient times, Aristotle believed even then that the ultimate value of our lives, measuring how well we've lived up to our full human potential, is really the happiness that you bring from doing good. And this capacity to create positive change, to be a force for good, to bring the best of ourselves to create a better world, is the priceless gift that everyone has the power to give. It's not something that is particularly unique. You all have it. And I myself, my journey began here in the Philippines. I discovered my passion for giving when I married a New Jersey sales entrepreneur, Russ Berrie, whose success making teddy bears and trolls was the foundation of our philanthropy. And as a Catholic who was born here, I was born in Cebu and grew up in convent schools from kindergarten to college, giving really meant putting money in a collection basket in church during Sunday Mass. So I went from that world to New Jersey, where something new opened up to me. I joined the Jewish community in New Jersey when I married Russ, and I was expected to be a community role model as Russ Berrie's wife. And it was a culture shock to go from a world of anonymous giving to pledging huge amounts of money publicly, as they do in Jewish organizations, and putting our names on buildings and being honored at very major fundraisers. And it was only later that I learned how to appreciate what it means to speak about giving, my giving in particular, and the role of philanthropy in changing the world. My marriage to Russ, whose success was rooted in selling, showed me the connection between high-powered sales achievers and their pursuit of a purposeful life. Most of our company's top salespeople also became very successful nonprofit leaders because they brought a lot of their excess energy and passion into the nonprofit world. One of them joined marathons in order to fundraise for cystic fibrosis while she was going in and out of the hospitals waiting for a lung transplant. And the effort to get us involved in a disease that eventually took her life at the age of 37 was so amazing and moving to me. And another was a woman who kept winning the top sales awards even as she was battling cancer. And on her last sales conference just before she passed away, we gave her a Lifetime Achievement Award. And my husband asked her, Marguerite, what's the secret of your success? She was wearing a turban, she had chemo, and she said, God didn't make me with an off switch. God didn't make me with an off switch. In life, we don't have an off switch for our passion. It just flows. Even when our plates are full and when we have to multitask, we don't stop. We do a lot of things anyway. And so passion is acting from our deepest self, the same place where the motivation to give originates from. And it was acting from that deepest self that a former police officer, Lisa Nigro, dragged her nephew's little red wagon filled with bagels and fresh coffee through Chicago's crime-ridden neighborhood to feed the homeless. Lisa used $30,000 of her life savings and credit cards that took 10 years to pay off to start something called the Inspiration Cafe, where homeless people sit down, order off a menu, get served like customers in a restaurant with dignity and respect. And I had the opportunity to join Lisa at one of these 4 Inspiration Cafes with a service training program that put homeless people back to work. And at the bottom of my menu was this irresistible marketing pitch. It said, dine well, do good, enjoy contemporary cuisine in a stylish setting as you change the world, one meal at a time. And it thanked the diners for dining with us and changing our lives. And I was really blown away by this message. In my own giving journey, I've had the privilege of meeting unsung heroes like Lisa, who offer the most priceless gift of all, the gift of self. And my message to you and to all the world is really that philanthropy, giving, is the gift of who you are, what makes you special. So every year, the Russell Berrie Foundation celebrates the power of one to make a difference. And the winner of the Russ Berrie Prize for Making a Difference receives $50,000. And the criteria specifies that they have to be people who are nominated who have very limited financial means. And one of the winners that year was a woman from New Jersey who managed to feed thousands of homeless people while living on her welfare checks. And it's hard to imagine. She got the casinos in Atlantic City to fund a soup kitchen, and she herself started to cook and serve people standing on her feet all day, and she served thousands of her guests, as she called them. And you know what she did with the $50,000 prize she got? She used every cent of it to buy sneakers for every one of her guests. And now, how many of you would do that with your $50,000? I'm really in awe of these everyday heroes who are modeling a culture of generosity by bringing their passion to lead very purposeful lives. And you don't have to be a millionaire to be a philanthropist. True philanthropy goes beyond the ability to write a check. You know, no matter what you have or don't have, we each have the capacity to give of ourselves. Because giving is not about money, it's an expression of who you are. It's a gift of your time, your energy, and your imagination. And time is free and therefore priceless. Yet in our busy lives, it's often easier to just send a check than to actively participate in making change happen. And this spirit of compassion and generosity lives within every one of us. Yet the perception of philanthropy is that of luxury sport, open only to those who can write big checks. But generosity is contagious. It creates a ripple effect, working its magic one person at a time. And then almost effortlessly, it's a beautiful multiplying force. It animates families, friends, communities, the world at large. And this kinship and oneness with humanity is really what philanthropy is all about. One of the Dalai Lama's unsung heroes of compassion is a young man from California called Nipun Mehta. And Nipun embarked on a sacred journey, leaving a software career, shedding his belongings, and taking off on a walking pilgrimage through India with his wife. Living on $1 a day, depending on the kindness of strangers for food and shelter, they allowed compassion to be their guide in unscripted acts of service along the way. And Nipun said that walking humbly, stripped of comfort and accustomed identities, allowed them to encounter people as they were. It cultivated an inner awareness to live in a space greater than their ego, and it moved them from an ego plan to a divine plan, and dropping almost everything to venture beyond to the unknown was really an adventure. Walking with intention gave them the courage to find new ground, to live like pilgrims for the remainder of their lives, and to experience what it meant to be the change you want to see in the world. And he was moved by the generosity of people who were so poor and yet managed to give them something every day, a place to stay, a little something to eat. And he was transformed by this experience. He said that there must be something that I can do. And he started a movement that he invented the word for. It's called giftivism, changing the world with one act of kindness at a time. And he has a website called Service Space that leverages the web to leverage people who would do small acts of service. And Nipun was recognized, as I said, by the Dalai Lama as an unsung hero of compassion. His experiment in the joy of giving, it blossomed into an ecosystem of purpose-driven generosity projects that touches thousands of people's lives. And today, over 300,000 people practice giftivism, performing acts of radical generosity that pay it forward. Things like offering free rickshaw rides in Malaysia to anybody, not necessarily the poorest people, buying a meal for the next customer, treating a stranger to a cup of coffee. And every person they touch is moved by these small acts of love, because we don't have to give just to those in need. You know, some of our own friends and family, if you really pay attention, need a little bit of love and attention, and a reminder that we are all connected. And we can start by being present with our time. You know, it's so forgotten to think of time as a gift, but instead of looking at your cell phone the next time you're with your family, put it down, take a look into their eyes, and really listen to them. That too is a gift. And it's no surprise that generosity is at the heart of all the world's religions, because generosity benefits the giver as well as the receiver. You encounter yourself as you encounter humanity along the road. And the Hebrew word natan is a special mirror word. It contains the dual meaning to give and to receive. And it's really a word that I think expresses philanthropy. But the Buddhists also have a concept of generosity that pictures one hand giving and the other hand receiving, and a continuous cycle where you no longer distinguish which hand is giving and which hand is receiving. And in the Christian tradition, we're taught that it's in giving that we receive. So this gift of inner transformation is really the ultimate reward that fulfills us as human beings. And as leaders, every day we can tap into that heart of oneness by choosing to do one small thing for someone else. Every act of generosity transforms first ourselves, then other beings, our planet, our world, the whole ecosystem in the web of life. The Dalai Lama actually initiated a study on kindness and compassion. He had neuroscientists conduct this research by monitoring the brains of Buddhist monks as they meditated, because the Dalai Lama wanted to know what modern science reveals about the brains of people who spent years cultivating well-being and the qualities of the mind which promote a positive outlook. And it was amazing. The results showed that the best way to activate positive brain circuits, these are the emotion circuits in the brain, was through generosity. And it was an experiment that proved systemic changes in the brain are associated with acts of generosity. So if you want to be happy, be generous. Generosity requires action. And to be generous, you must act on your compassion, because generosity is compassion in action. Giving opens our hearts to humanity, and we all have the gift to make a difference regardless of our means. How we give and channel the gift of our life to connect it to purpose is a soulful journey, and passion aligned with purpose creates a life of meaning. Generosity is also a practice. It's a muscle that needs exercise, and as with everything and anything we practice, we get better at it over time. And we don't have to take on something big. We can do what Mother Teresa always advised people to do, and it's the words and the mantra that I use to live my life. You can all do small things with great love. And I hope that sharing my passion for giving and the lessons of generosity will inspire you to try harder, to feel more, to be bolder, to participate, and to make a difference, because everyone can do this. Every successful leader creates a vision statement for life, because you become what you believe. Mine is to live passionately, to love unconditionally, and to give fearlessly. Don't wait to make your first million to be generous, and start living a life of generosity now. I invite you to begin with one act of generosity and to watch that ripple spread. Thank you.
Presenting a token of GAMA Philippines' appreciation to Ms. Berrie are GAMA Philippines' President, Mr. Pat Abellera, and Convention Chair, Ms. Margie Onqueco.